Welcome back. Bank of America's international president Bernard Mensah, in an exclusive conversation with CNBC-TV18's Nisha Poddar, says the bank sees a dramatic change in India's economic growth trajectory, especially with policy continuity post-elections. Also points out that the US Fed's stance on rate cuts is critical but not time-sensitive. Listen in.
What was on my mind and a lot of what people outside are looking to India with is, since the elections, have things changed and is there a different direction? The results were a little bit of a surprise to casual watchers. Maybe for those of you on the ground, it was completely expected, although elections are you never know exactly how they'll go. And the sense is that there's actually quite a bit of continuity. I think there's a real consensus as to the economic path that India is on and the policies broadly that they're on. So it doesn't feel, definitely from the last 2-3 days that I've been here, that there's going to be a dramatic change.
A dramatic change, all right. And you still have to see how this really pans out. But policy continuity largely is one thing that global investors and global companies like yourself really like about India. That's what I'm picking up.
And can I say very quickly, sorry to interrupt,
No, sure.
that not just the policy continuity, but I think we have all been really impressed with India's democracy as well. It's quite a thing of wonder, the scale of it, the size of it, the timing of it. And there's a sense that through that process it reinforced the institutions that you have. It was able to deliver a message to all who want to watch and see it that was reasonably clear. And I think that is also a positive for market participants.
Bernie, you are a banker, and the biggest question which is going to impact the world market and businesses in India also to a large extent, and liquidity flow, is going to be also the US Fed Reserve really cutting the interest rates. Now, in the most recent commentary coming in from the Fed, they've said that they need more data to see that inflation is tackled. While the market, after tapering their expectations, has come to a September kind of a cut and maybe one cut this year. As a banker, what do you think? What is the thinking at Bank of America, and what is the right estimate when it comes to this interest rate cut?
If I knew what the right estimate was, I'd be running a very
what
successful
is the opinion? All right, what is the opinion which is building now after these recent comments and the recent data?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. And look, who knows? There was a large disconnect at the start of the year between what the market's expectations was and what the central bankers were saying. I had the privilege of joining some of them in Switzerland in March at the Basel Committee, and there was a sense of in a lot of academic papers and a lot of discussions as to why there was that disconnect.
Yes.
And as you rightly point out, there's been less of that. So our research team have a view, and I think at the moment they think perhaps one cut before the end of the year, and you can see what a lot of others are thinking. And of course, we can see what the markets are pricing in. My sense has always been that looking at the underlying strength of the U.S. economy and the health of the U.S. consumer, we have 60, 70 million customers in the U.S. We have a sense of what they're spending on, what their bank balances are like, how they're feeling from our interactions with them, and how well we service them. I always had a sense that the U.S. economy was stronger than perhaps would be shown. And then we saw, again, through places like India and Korea and Japan and others, we saw a lot of foreign direct investment going into the U.S. as well, with things like the Inflation Reduction Act and some of the large policies like that going on in the U.S. and elsewhere. So it always seemed to me that it would be a little bit tougher to come down as aggressively as the markets were pricing in. But if I were the Fed chairman, I would also look for the data to see where we are. And it's not a bad situation to be in if the economy is doing as it is, and there's a sense of, okay, is it 1 or 2 this year or a little bit next year? I don't think it makes a huge amount of difference, and I think they're doing a good job in